Alf, we've got a DEFCON 3. Brace yourself.
Torpedo is an acquisition. Range 500 yards in closing.
Rumor mill is kicking in high gear, and could GameStop be looking to make a move to purchase PSA/Collectors Universe?
All right, Chief. Put us on the roof. Countermeasure station on my mark. 5, 4, 1. Release countermeasures.
More drama.
Where are they?
160 miles and closing in fast, sir.
Maverick Supersonic. I'll be there in 30 seconds.
Before we give you the scoop, speaking of PSA, get the $25 off your first submission over there. Tell a friend. SCD25 code at the shipping and billing screen. Save some money, my friends. It's just a 1-card minimum to try out PSA. Take 10% off your SlabMag order with Sports Card Dad promo code. I'm only one of a few that have an active code now for SlabMags. The best way to display your cards and protect your surface with UV protection. I don't want your autos to be fading. World-renowned card collector Spinatron spun my head around when I watched his IG post here yesterday. If you don't know who Spinatron is, he has an absolutely insane sports card collection. Probably non-sports too. I honestly haven't dug into that part. I did meet Spino at the National last year at one of these like little happy hour things. It was fun, good meeting him. Really sharp collector, like an almanac. He's a sports card encyclopedia almanac when it comes to a lot of really great cards, and he owns multiple copies of absolutely insane cards. And he's been in the hobby for a long time. So for those who are like, who is Spinatron? What are we even talking about? This guy knows his stuff, and he put out a hot take rumor mill type item. Let's talk through this. Let's go through Spino's post here on IG. GameStop. All the rage here in the card market. They have basically transformed their video game company and meme stock company, whatever, into a trading card company. That has become, look, I would say that has been more of the news with GameStop recently than going and buying new and used video games at the GameStop store. I hear GameStop more in the news for PSA submissions and for, we've got the latest Pokemon card product drop and everybody's lining up outside of the GameStop for hours to get that. Actually, I have a buddy of mine who's got an 11-year-old son, and they did just that going back a couple weeks ago to get Destined Rivals. You know, to get that new set, they were literally waiting for 3 or 4 hours outside. He told me that he might be staying overnight to try to get new product coming up at GameStop. So that's really where GameStop has been in the news here recently. So Spino types out here, GameStop plans to offer $1.75 billion in convertible senior notes at a 0% interest rate. Similar, he puts here to Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy, which of course, MicroStrategy basically becoming a Bitcoin holding company. Do some research on Michael Saylor. I like listening to him speak on Bitcoin. Whether you agree with Bitcoin, don't agree with Bitcoin, Michael Saylor is an interesting listen when it comes to Bitcoin. So Spinatron is asking here, why are they raising all this cash? And GameStop is pretty cash rich here recently. So what is the move? Why are they doing this? And he believes it is to acquire PSA/Collectors Universe. Not, from what I'm seeing here, not just the PSA portion of Collectors, because remember, Collectors is not just PSA, it's multiple companies. So I'm not sure if he meant PSA alone or all of it, but it sounds to me like all of it here. GameStop bought 4,710 Bitcoin for about $500 million. They're raising $1.7 billion, which gets them to about $2.8 billion of liquidity to do something with. Why are they raising $2.8 billion? And they already have lots of cash. So what is the move? Is it for acquisition? What would that acquisition be? And this is where the rumors start kicking around. What would make sense for a GameStop to purchase? Now look, PSA Collectors Universe is a multi-billion-dollar company. I believe Spinatron has in 2022, it was valued at something like $4 billion, $4.3 billion. And I have to believe, just given the way the grading has been going, that it's probably higher than that, or it's up there. There are some synergies between these companies in place. Nat Turner is on the board of GameStop. Nat Turner of Collectors is on the board of GameStop. And Spino says that GameStop's Ryan Cohen has been seen courtside here recently, speculating here, that with Collectors Universe, Steve Cohen. So Steve Cohen, who I believe owns the Mets and owns half the world, is in on this with Nat Turner with Collectors. They are buddies, and they're all buddies in this. So they're all buddies. There's all the synergy there. And so the big question here is this just simply business synergies? Is this just networking? These guys know each other because they're all in, they all own big companies. They all run big companies. And the answer could just be yes to this. I've always kind of wondered this as Nat Turner took over and got in at PSA. Is it something that Nat Turner got into and now just kind of being inside the thing? This guy's a huge collector, massive collector. The reason why I believe that he got in with PSA Collectors Universe is, yes, he saw an opportunity from a business standpoint there, but it's also love of the game. This is the thing that he loves the most. This is it's got to be the most fun he's ever had in business. And so that's what I kind of wonder is, now that he's on the inside, is he having just as much fun? Does he, enjoy the challenge the same way? Or is he now kind of like, you know what? We could sell and make a lot of money. I think they purchased collectors for like $700 million, Nat Turner and that group of investors. So granted, they've invested a lot of money as well. So it's not just like their cost base is $700 million. They've put a lot of money into the company and still are. But they could get out and do really, really well on a sale. I guess I wonder, is that what it's about? Because to me, I don't look at, and look, I don't have any inside information. I don't know Nat Turner. Only Nat Turner knows the answer to this question. But I don't think that Nat Turner necessarily needs any more money or that is his focus. Now, he's got business partners. So what are their focuses? What do they do? There's a lot of moving parts to this. If this rumor were to come true, that Nat would still be involved in these companies in some way or form. Maybe. Then I also look at this from a legacy side. And from Nat's standpoint, is this like, I own a company that is an extremely important company in the hobby space. He gets to drive the ship. He gets to make a lot of the decisions, and he gets to kind of map out what grading looks like moving forward. And also not just grading, but just different parts of the hobby, the industry. Collectors owns a variety of companies and has their hands in a lot of different things. Collectors Universe, Collectors Inc. It's not Collectors Universe anymore. Collectors Inc. Does he look at it as like, I don't really want to sell. I want to continue to build. These are all really interesting questions. They've done a ton with this company over the last 4 years of owning it. Spinatron throws this out there as kind of a rumor, but I take this a little bit more seriously from Spino because he does understand finance. He's not necessarily an insider as far as like he's in at he's not on the board meetings from what I understand, but he is a longtime collector. He's a smart guy. And it does kind of raise the question, though, what is GameStop trying to do? GameStop essentially overnight has turned into a massive PSA submission center and essentially has turned into a card store. How many GameStop stores are there? 1,000 or something? I'm throwing out a number. We talked about Foot Locker and Dick's Sporting Goods. There's 800 Dick's Sporting Goods stores. There's 800 Foot Locker stores approximately. Are they looking to turn into collectible stores as part of their overall offering to expand their business? A lot of companies, a lot of big companies looking at collectibles as an opportunity, and GameStop has successfully pulled this off, whether we're talking about the Pokemon, the trading card space, TCG. But when we look at the gem rate data that pops out and you see 1 million plus TCG cards came to PSA, a big chunk of this is coming from GameStop. What's interesting is when they announced, GameStop's going to start, taking submissions for PSA, it was kind of, and me too, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, people are going to trust a GameStop employee to do their submission. Well, they have very quickly become a serious player in trading card submissions. Almost overnight, they have turned into one of PSA's largest submitters, for group submitters, if you will. So this is very interesting, the synergies here. Will it just maintain as kind of the way that it is and all the players stay in their spots? Or will there be some movement? But I do think this is a good question from Spino, whether it's to buy PSA Collectors Universe or not. What are they doing with this money? They're raising a ton of money to do something with. What are the answers? What does GameStop have up their sleeve? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.